Orlando, talk about how you evaluate the coaches in your district.
Well, we do end-of-season evaluations from every coach in our district, from our middle school coaches to our high school coaches, assistants, and head coaches. At the high school level, obviously, we have our athletic coordinators that evaluate our head coaches per sport. Then our head coaches are required to evaluate their assistant coaches. Then after we gather all the information from their local level, from their campus level, because we have 4 high schools, 8 middle schools, then they present me a packet per sport of all the coaches that are associated with that sport. Then I kind of go basically through them and go through, and at the same point, there's a self-evaluation of the program, self-evaluation of the coaching staffs, things, needs and wants, things we need to get better at. And when I'm looking through that, I do a one-on-one with the head coach in charge of the whole program, and basically go through the process of the needs and things that need to change, or see where the program's going, see what the program's been. And we keep a file on every coach, so we have a background. If he's been there 3 or 4 years, we've seen how the program has grown, or sometimes how the program has not performed.
Right.
And that's how decisions are made.
Talk about also these coaches that are also coming from the teaching profession, a teaching position, how that evaluation is shared with athletics and vice versa.
Well, those guys have a double-edged sword. They got to be evaluated by multiple people. Right. And obviously, we're all teachers first in our business, and we all understand that. And if they better protect that evaluation, just as important as protecting our evaluation. Right. Because the principal says he's not cutting it in the classroom. That evaluation just holds sometimes even more weight, I would say, than anything else. So we make sure to tell our coaches, said, you may be the best X's and O's coach, but you ain't covered in the classroom. The principal's going to have the ultimate say, and you know what, we may need to make a change. So you got to make sure and have the responsibility to take care of both aspects. Because being a coach, you know what, we say the best coaches are the best teachers. The best teachers are the best coaches. They go hand in hand. When you have a weak teacher, you're usually going to have a weak coach. So the evaluations are going to be kind of equal, being parallel. We're going to get the same results.
Talk about that full committee when you're evaluating your head coaches for each sport. Who all is in that group that's evaluating that head coach, and obviously what all goes into that other than your win-loss record?
Well, obviously, within my 4 high schools, my athletic coordinator, him and his principal, that's where we go, because we tell them, do your local assessment within your campus. You guys meet, go through the thing, go through the process, go through the evaluations, go through the paperwork. After you evaluate your coaches, I said, now me and my coordinator, and any red flags that they may come up, he'll bring them up to my attention. And then we'll meet. Then at that point, me and my coordinator will bring in our head coach and say, you know what, these are the problem areas we see, or these are the great things we're doing. Because right. Sometimes things are great, and sometimes some of these meetings can be quick because you got a program from all your levels of going. I've had head coaches that may have a successful season at the varsity level, but you look at the freshmen, their JV, they're struggling. Well, obviously those are red flags. Right. And we got to see, are we just neglecting those programs? What's going on? Right. Because eventually those kids are going to be left out, and we're going to have problems down the road. Right. If those programs, and the best of observation for us is when all our programs are being successful, or at least in some of my schools that are younger schools, don't have as much talent. Well, how well are they competing against the other schools at a certain level? Because I have 4 different schools, 4 different economic areas. Right. One strong in soccer, right. But you know what, may not be very strong in another sport. Right. But how good do they compete? Different people have different ways of evaluating the programs. To me is, and a big thing for us is, how good a participation do you have? Are you barely making it with, in a basketball team, you have 8 players on your basketball program? That's a red flag. Right. Why can't we have 15 all through our levels? Why can't we promote the program? Right. All those factors come into play for us. I mean, it's an overall of a program, how much growth we have, how much involvement we have, then plus, are we competitive? Right. Sometimes it may not be W's and L's.
And then past your head coach, whenever you get down to assistant coaches, junior high coaches, and other support people, trainers and stuff like that, how are those evaluations done?
Well, we have an athletic coordinator trainer within our district. Okay. Fortunately, I'm one of the lucky ones that we have one guy supervises all our middle school trainers and our high school trainers. Good. And he does an evaluation for all his programs, for all his trainers. Then he comes down and sits with me and sees concerns that we need to do or things we need to do. Do we need to provide more resources? Do we need to provide more training? But I tell you what, for the most part, he does a great job, because He's an experienced trainer. I think he's got 25 plus years in the business, and I trust his judgment. And actually, that's probably out of my field where I don't feel very comfortable doing. That's for me to trust somebody else to do that.
Good. How does your district handle outside groups renting your facilities?
You know what? I'm going to expand on that. PSJ, it's a very unique situation to where I will tell you. Let's talk about our middle schools. In my middle schools, I can tell you we have 8 softball fields that are lighted. I can't tell you how many people in the state of Texas say we have middle school softball fields that have lighted fields, regulation fields. We have mini football stadiums at all 8 middle schools with 6-lane tracks. Our goal, or my goal, and our district's goal is our middle school season, softball season, is probably 7 weeks long. Right. I can't let those fields stay idle all year long. Right. I have an agreement with our local cities, because we're part of 3 cities, Pharr, San Juan, and Alamo, 3 different cities. I have an agreement that you can use my facilities as long as we're servicing PSJ ISD students.
There you go.
If you've got 75% of your students a part of your teams, whether you're a select, club, private team, you've got 75% of my kids a part of your team, we're going to let you practice on our field anytime you want.
Right.
And I don't have an issue with that.
Right.
Now, if you're going to go and try to make a profit,
right,
hold a big tournament, all this, that's a different ballgame.
Right.
Now you got to go through a different department.
Right.
You got to go through all the legwork, and we're going to find out where the money's going, when all this going. We will work with you because it's kind of an understanding in our business. If the money's going to go back toward our kids,
right,
because it's part of our traveling teams, it's part of our club teams that we know that my head baseball coach, my head basketball coach comes and tells me, Coach, those are all my kids.
right,
Let's work with them. They're going to give it back a donation of $2,000 back to the clubs, back to the school, to the principal to go. I said, we're very flexible with that.
right.
We're big into utilizing and using our facilities for our kids in PSJ.
Right.
And that's the extent of it. I do not get into, we're not in the adult leagues.
Right.
We're not into people coming outside and renting them that have no PSJ. We're not for that. We're more for, if it's going to benefit our students participating and playing on it, we're going to give it to you free as much as we can because we want our fields used, and that's the only way our kids are going to grow and get better.